seeking those blessings so that we are able to present the class that is going to be inspiring. Inspire me first. Thank you. So today we're going to be reading from Transcendental Diaries, Chapter 9, Sri Mayapur, March 15, 1976. I'm going to read on, and there's about 10 pages, so probably I'll also summarize and also try to keep the class interactive and have some input. So the class goes to half past 8. Okay, it's kind of true. I'm going to read right before Mangul Party, Prabhupada Basmi, he called for Tamal Krishna Swami and Trivikram Swami. But I could only find Trivikram, since Tamal Krishna had already entered the temple. Prabhupada told Trivikram Maharaj that he wanted him to go immediately to China with Tamal. He had been meditating on it all night, he said, and decided that he should definitely do something in the communist countries. He also called for Gopal Krishna and told him to leave for Russia as soon as possible. He said that there are opportunities there for book distribution to libraries, and as an Indian businessman, Gopal Krishna would be well received. Both Trivikram Maharaj and Gopal were excited about the prospect of opening vast new preaching fields. They both happily agreed. Word was sent out to Tamal Krishna Maharaj. By the time he arrived in Srila Prabhupada's room, his Divine Grace had gone to the bathroom to freshen up for his morning walk. Tamal Krishna was visibly shocked at the idea of going to China. As we waited, he began to pace the room, voicing all the reasons why he could not possibly go. Manavis and Guru Kripa Swamis accompanied him to give him some support. Prabhupada had altered a decision many times previously upon further discussion of the issue. They felt that Tamal had good, strong arguments that might change Prabhupada's mind upon his hearing them. After a few minutes, Srila Prabhupada returned and sat behind his low desk, Javahishta. Tamal Krishna Maharaj sat before him and presented all the reasonable arguments why he should not go to China. He hadn't expected that Prabhupada would take what he had said last night literally. He explained how, after leaving Prabhupada's room, he had met with his entire Radha Damodar party, and they had discussed the plans for the coming year. They were all enthusiastic and determined to make it the biggest year ever in book distribution. If they were to leave the Sankirtan party now, everything might collapse. The preaching was only going on by his personal presence, and there was no one else who could organize it. Guru Kripa Maharaj spoke up in support, volunteering to go to China instead, so that Tamal would stay in America and continue book distribution. It was a very strong argument. Book distribution is Srila Prabhupada's greatest joy, and not something he would jeopardize. Nevertheless, Prabhupada firmly rejected the offer. No. He must go. Visibly irritated, Prabhupada asserted, the Radha Damodar party is going on by Krishna's image, not Tamal Krishna Swami. You said, in China, I thought about it all night. I wanted to do something there, and I took it as Krishna speaking through you. It quickly became clear to everyone that Prabhupada was very serious. Madhavis and Guru Kripa backed away. Their silence giving Tamal Krishna a he could do it. He shouldn't be a GBC member who has so many other involvements throughout politics. Prabhupada's face was flushed, his back straightened, and his upper lip twitched on the left side. His anger was barely restrained. His hand shook as he held his Tilak Moro and applied the sacred blade to his forehead. So Srila Prabhupada said, why not GBC? All your resolutions are finished. First resolution, then revolution, then dissolution, no solution. I have to manage everything myself. I give you a little power and you train power. GBC is for solving solutions, not for creating situations. He was fully determined and fixed in the decision. He forced his disciple to surrender, making it quite clear that there was no option. I want it, but you do not want it. It is my very strong desire. Now I will take everything from you. You can either go to China or you can simply sit here in my room and chant. Krishna Maharaj always had considered. He finally understood that there was no alternative and surrendering, agreeing to do whatever his spiritual master required. Despite the prospects of foregoing everything that he had worked for several years to build up, the most successful preaching party in society, Prabhupada's desire was paramount. It was a fruitless glory if he didn't please Srila Prabhupada. Krishna asked only one concession, that Trishri Brahmanidas, a lady brahmachari from the Radha Dhamma traveling Sankirtan party in a sannyas camp accompanying Matravekram Swami. Prabhupada was now wreathed in smiles, happily obviously pleased by the submission of his leading sannyasi disciple. He strode out to make his morning walk, much of which he spent happily discussing how the new preaching assignment would be fulfilled. So we can see, and I can sum up some points. So, the meaning of guru means to be heavy. The guru has to be heavy, he's not your friend. So we could see with the interaction between Krishna Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was, he stuck to his guns that Srila Krishna should go to China. And he also made a point there that whatever service one is doing, no matter how big service one is doing, that's not, you're just an instrument in the service. Everything is happening by Krishna's arrangements. And we can see also, no book distribution brings the greatest joy for Srila Prabhupada. He desired that the preaching would take place in China or in Russia. So from this we can understand that we should not get comfortable in our service. When we get comfortable in our service, and probably I think that Ramana Prabhupada is a senior devotee, and he always said that we should all preach. Don't be comfortable in your service. Like I remember when it comes to Janmashtami, that Prabhupada made the point that devotees should all preach rather than we all be in the temple. So the preaching is a very serious work, and you can see from this point. Srila Prabhupada emphasized it. And he also mentioned that there was no special privilege whether you were a GBC member or the preaching is most important. And so most of the devotees, the new devotees, I'm not too sure whether you are very familiar with Krishna Swami Maharaj. My Guru Maharaj actually says in his book that Krishna Maharaj was Srila Prabhupada's right-hand man. So if you look at the pictures anyway in this part, you'll probably see Krishna Maharaj. So Srila Prabhupada was training from the very beginning. He was setting the standard. And we can see that, and we know from in a moment that what Krishna Maharaj has achieved in the moment. And this traveling son during the class is very hard to say. But what he said must have given considerable encouragement and reassurance to his newly eastbound disciples. If you want to remain insufferable in purity, then Krishna will help. Just like here, as soon as Brahma was disturbed by the demons, full of Rajaguna and Tamagun, immediately the Lord came in higher Prema Murti incarnation. Krishna is also very much anxious to give protection. If you remain a pure devotee, always surrender to Krishna, you should know very well that Krishna will give you protection in any calamity. Don't be worried. Simply you must have the faith. That is surrender. Surrender in avasya raksite Krishna, Vishvasa Palana. You must be faithful that I am engaged in Krishna's service. I may go to hell or heaven, it doesn't matter. I am going to serve him. It is sure that Krishna will give you protection, so there should be no hesitation if somebody is ordered. Go to hell and preach Krishna consciousness. You should remain faithful to Krishna. Krishna will give all protection. This is the principle. So we'll read on further here. Srila Prabhupada's godbrother, B.R. Sridhar Swami, came to Prabhupada's car in his market, and he stayed for most of the afternoon. He and Prabhupada took prasadam together on the veranda. Srila Prabhupada had him stay in the room right next to his home. And after the right test, they talked for most of the afternoon. So I will just sum this chapter, this part of the chapter. So basically, Srila Prabhupada said to Hariswari Prabhu that Sridhar Maharaj had said that he regarded Srila Prabhupada as the real Acharya. And we can understand that amongst Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers, it's not Srila Prabhupada who took his Guru Maharaj's instruction very seriously. He took it to the West, at the very advanced age. Practically he had no money as well, and he just had faith in the holy name. So chanting the Hare Krishna is a solution to problems. The Srila Prabhupada read that, so his godbrother is confirming. And he also never received any assistance from his godbrothers. But here we see him being glorified after his established his law, done nice, very nice service. So we go on here further. The GBC met later in the day to redefine zones and to strike out the revolutionary resolutions. Mother Grace Swami was placed in charge of the Transcendental Party, as well as New York, Montreal, Toronto, and Ottawa. Rupa got himself reassigned to the southern part of America, East Coast. Guru Kripa Swami will now manage Australia and New Zealand. So we get a report. Srila Prabhupada always got a report. By the evening, they reported that the temple presence were all now satisfied. Prabhupada approved a new system for the annual meetings, whereby the initial GBC meeting would be followed by an official temple presence meeting, which will consider the resolutions of the GBC and make recommendations as they feel necessary. The GBC will then meet a final time and respond and make any adjustments they feel warranted. In this way, the presidents are to be given a voice, an opportunity for controversy possibly avoided. Srila Prabhupada made it clear, however, that the GBC's decision must be accepted as final. The president's meeting will be advisory only. So yeah, I thought this is a very important point that we can ponder on and discuss. That in our society will stay strong if we follow the decisions of GBC. And Srila Prabhupada has set the standard here as well, that whatever decisions the GBC make is final. So also the GBC is an extension of Srila Prabhupada's mercy. Because he could realize that when his Guru Maharaj left, there was so much of chaos in the society. And this body, the governing body, was the most important part of Islam. Because it set the standards, sets the rules. And we as devotees, sometimes you may be in a position where you're doing big service, very big service, and maybe in your estimation that your service is very big. But also, when we have position, also the ego can be there. Even Brahma has ego, Indra has ego. So we are in this material world. So how much of power do we have? So sometimes we can get golden in positions. So So, but he also, Srila Prabhupada also said, gave the temple residents a chance to voice any concerns they had, because we're in a society. So, to be part of the society, we need to understand what's happening in the society, what the mood is. But we always must know that we should follow authority. Following authority is a very important aspect of spiritual life. So I don't know, Raghunath Prabhu, if you want to be in management, if you would want to add something.
No, it's true. It's true, but sometimes we have to deliberate on it. We may in the end accept what they say, but there is a process also for us, or there is an opportunity for us to deliberate on it.
Okay.
It's not like, carte blanche, it's like we should have a late card, So it's not like that, you can deliberate on the matter. Because even, Lord Krishna does the same thing. And he says, Arjuna, you deliberate on this fully, and then you can do what you want to do. So there must be some deliberation.
So there's deliberation.
Yeah, there must be some deliberation on the matter. It's not like if sometimes they can be wrong also.
Okay.
They may not have taken other factors.
So there's factors that need to be considered.
All factors that need to be considered.
Okay.
But in the end, you should follow.
Should follow.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to create a disturbance in society.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Thank you for the point. Mr. Raghunath Prabhu is very senior in the management. Thank you, Raghunath Prabhu, for clarifying the point. And also, I was reading many books. So when I was going through this class, and I was thinking of Tamar Vishnu Swami. I was very grateful to Tamar Vishnu Swami. Because it was his disciple, Samakati Maharaj, who distributed the book to me once at the wall. And I thought that, they say, you receive the mercy through the Guru. And in many moods, my Guru Maharaj mentions the point that, when Srila Prabhupada was present, he taught them so many things. But the one thing that he didn't teach them is how to have this interaction with your God brothers. Because Srila Prabhupada never had an opportunity, because he was so busy preaching, and his God brothers were so envious of him. But Tamar Krishna Maharaj, before he made any decisions, he would discuss it with his God brothers. And not just, advanced God brothers. So they say that if a decision has to be made, that you should discuss among senior devotees. And when all agree, then you accept that point is coming from Krishna. So would that be taken with that from that when a decision is made, that all devotees, senior devotees, will agree on that point, and then the decision is taken. Okay. So I'll continue here. Tamar Krishna Maharaj gave a report on his project for China. He fully accepted his new assignment, and he has begun to apply himself to the task. Drishtadyumna's father is the chairman of Seagram's International Division with links in Hong Kong. They intend to consult with him to see how to enter China as a businessman. Prabhupada said that he wants something permanent down there. Slowly but surely, Tamar Krishna is taking the task very seriously, and Prabhupada is very pleased. So we see how pleased the Guru can be when one surrenders. In a casual moment, so actually in this part here of this chapter, I'm not too sure. So the author somehow he tries to trick that. Srila Prabhupada gives him some information about his past birth and stuff like that. And so he was trying to get something out of Prabhupada, who he was. And but Srila Prabhupada then just told him that, you can count from 100 birth from his birth. But then I was thinking to myself, well, is he talking about human 100 years or celestial 100 years? It's like, but here it says, Srila Prabhupada, his reply was nonchalant and non-committal. One's birth is say utmost 100 years, so you simply calculate from 1896 previously. So we calculate that Prabhupada is not from this material world. So in this author says he lost the opportunity to find out who Srila Prabhupada was. So also my Guru Maharaj once, he was trying to trick Shah Prabhupada like that, but Shah Prabhupada was very astute, advanced. So he was like trying to find out where best he should serve Prabhupada. And then Shah Prabhupada had mentioned to him about the British when they were in India, they had three main areas. It was Mumbai, Calcutta, and I think it was Madras. And so my Guru Maharaj wanted to know from Shah Prabhupada where would he want him to be. So then he when he went to Prabhupada and he was like saying to Prabhupada that things like preaching in Madras would be nice. But Shah Prabhupada never said anything. Then he tried the next time, he said, okay, I think if I'm here, Calcutta, preach, Shah Prabhupada, never said anything. Then finally, he could understand that he couldn't trick Prabhupada. But he could understand Prabhupada's mood and what was in Prabhupada's mind. And he finally understood that the Mumbai project was dear to Prabhupada. So then he told Prabhupada, okay, we'd like to serve there. Similarly with Thomas Krishna Maharaj, he was like, his first told Shah Prabhupada about China. And then Shah Prabhupada took it, yes, it's coming from the devotee of China. So the class was leaving and they said that, you get disciples. You get the type of disciple and the spiritual master gives them an instruction, he follows the instruction but in a grudging mode, not very happy. You get the second type of disciple who the spiritual master gives him the service and he does it very nicely. But then you get the third type of disciple who understands the mind of the Guru and he can act on that without the Guru telling him to do that. So these very advanced devotees now they have that ability. You can see when they were preaching and whatever they were doing for Shah Prabhupada's pleasure. So we go on. March 16, 1976. The appearance day of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Everyone fasted until moonrise and then took Ekadasi feast. Although Prabhupada said this was not compulsory. So today is Ekadasi. So Prabhupada kept to his regular schedule, walking first up on the roof and then coming down to walk around the grounds. Prabhupada's attentiveness to every detail is nothing short of amazing. As soon as he came out into the cool morning air of the rooftop, he noted a lotus that was standing next to the freshly watered rose plants. None of us thought anything of it, but vexation immediately crossed Prabhupada's face. He asked one of the devotees to check if there was a lotus in the toilet room. So the devotee went in and said to Prabhupada, "No, Shah Prabhupada," was the reply. Prabhupada shook his head. He recognized it as one he has been using. So now Aparadi offended. They have used that water for washing. Great offender. This is going on, militaries and yavanas. The thought of us using a contaminated receptacle to water Srimati Tulsi was abominable to me. And he warned us to see that this does not happen again in the future. One who has used that, he has no sense how to water Tulsi blood. He should be instructed. He should never use the toilet water. It was yet another indication of lack of Krishna consciousness. Always some of us still think of those areas as mere plant, but Prabhupada is fully conscious of her exalted position. So we can see that how tolerant Prabhupada was as well. So he had all these Western disciples, they were not familiar with all the etiquette. But Prabhupada was very tolerant, and he was also training them as well. And he was also merciful. So we can see over time how the society has now set nice standards, but it all started off. If you read certain books, like some of the disciples, like this book 26 Second Avenue, you'll see in the early days like how Prabhupada was so merciful to those devotees at first reading Islam. Like you'll hear some devotees, they used to take drums. Some of them used to come in the temple room, sleep across the temple room. So there was one devotee, one of the congregation members. When he first entered the temple, he was drunk and he was like intoxicated. But he came to offer some service. He brought toilet paper and he left like toilet paper there. And then he was like, he was chanting with the devotee, but then he passed on. But then it also mentioned in the 26 Second Avenue, the next day he came, he was shaven, neatly dressed. So we can see how merciful Srila Prabhupada is. Srila Prabhupada never chastised him, he just let him be. So sometimes we can see now, even with us spirituals and Krishna consciousness and devotees, we have to have this kind of mood as well, to be merciful and not judgmental. Give people a chance, but you'll be surprised the same person may become a big devotee in this one. So we can see that. And there's something, actually from the 22nd Avenue, some of those devotees are sannyasis. So Srila Prabhupada was very tolerant and merciful. So now read on. During the walk, Srila Prabhupada spoke continuously, engaging everyone in debate, challenging and exposing the defects in the philosophy of the communists and the scientists, training his men how to present Krishna consciousness as the topmost system. So it's also, he seemed more enlightened than usual, obviously invigorated by the presence of his leading preachers. He talked the whole walk, particularly on the point of the leadership of human society. If change is required, or continuous revolution as a communist, then that means imperfection in the leaders. But we've had the same leader, Krishna, for millions of years without any need of change. That's kind of an interesting point. Then in another incident, he demonstrated his ever-watchful concern for our spiritual life, surrounded by sannyasis and TBCs. He descended the central staircase to the first floor. He caught sight of a woman waiting to go up to the second floor. He stopped and asked what she was doing. She said she had to go to see in the Nanda Swami. So Prabhupada was concerned when this happened. And he had questioned. He had to question because, as you know, etiquette with sannyasis. Sannyasis shouldn't be speaking to women in a secluded place, as long as you have someone present. So Sri Prabhupada was very concerned about this, and he was also training the sannyasis. So we can also understand that in Chaitanya Charitamrita, also about Chaitanya was very strict on that principle. And there's the story of Chota Haridas, how he severely chastised. So Prabhupada wanted to make that point, that we should take care about the etiquette. So then, Yadunatha Goswami explained the reason why the woman was coming up. Because it had to do with initiation, and she was married, and we were discussing initiation. But then Srila Prabhupada replied, although he explained the reason, that Srila Prabhupada, that may be, said Srila Prabhupada, but I have to respond as I understand it. It was a salutary lesson in how careful one must be to protect one's spiritual life. So I guess that also applies to the brahmacharis as well, brahmacharis and sannyasis. Somehow, as if by divine arrangement, the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 7:9-38 was an exact reference to the appearance of Lord Chaitanya. It wasn't planned that Srila Prabhupada has been lecturing on the verses in order since the month of February, yet it was exactly appropriate. Krishna loudly read out the translations to the packed assembly. In this way, my Lord, you have appeared in different incarnations as human beings, as animals, as great saintly persons, as demigods, and as a fish and a tortoise. In this way, you attain the whole creation in different planetary systems and kill the demonic principles in every age. My Lord, you therefore protect the principles of religion. In the age of Kali, you do not assert yourself as the supreme personality of God. Therefore, you are known as Tri Yuga, or the Lord who appears in 3 yugas. Srila Prabhupada gave a long lecture revealing the purpose of Lord Chaitanya's descent in Sridham Mayapur 490 years ago. He explained that the Lord's mysterious advent can be understood only by the mercy of great devotees like Sri Rupa Goswami. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is described here as Chanaka. In the Kali Yuga, he is not appearing as an incarnation, not like Nishima or Lord Ramachandra. He is appearing as a devotee. Why? So then Srila Prabhupada is explaining. Now this is the most magnanimous avatar. People are so foolish, they cannot understand Krishna. When Krishna said, Sarva Dharma Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam, give up everything and surrender to me, they took it. Who is this person ordering like that? Sarva Dharma Parityajya. What right? So people are questioning Krishna when Krishna is speaking. And you see so many people, they have this nonsense. They talk so much of nonsense, and they'll ask you, is that the words of Krishna? Things like that. You'll see when you go out to preach, there's so many kinds of characters out there. But here we can understand, in order to save such persons, the Lord has to come down. He comes down as a devotee to show the process how one can surrender to Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada says, that is our material desire. If somebody ordered you to do something, he protests. Who are you, to order me? This is the position. God himself, Krishna, what can he say? He orders the supreme person, supreme being. He must order. He is the supreme controller. That is God. But but we are so foolish that when God orders that you do this, we take it otherwise. Oh, who is this man? He is opting like that. Why shall I give him? I have created so many dharmas. I give it up. Why shall I give it up? Therefore the same Lord came again to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then it goes on. Today is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is fearlessly. So we must discuss this very thoroughly, the way Rupa Goswami understood. Therefore we have to go through Guru. Rupa Goswami is our Guru. Narottam Das Thakur said, Rupa Raghunatha Pada Paive Akuti Kabe Ama Bujhabu Se Jugala Priti. If we want to understand the transcendental position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then we have to go through Guru Parampara system. Otherwise it's not possible. So this is Chana Avatar. He is Krishna. He has come to give you Krishna, prayer, love of God, but he's acting like Krishna's devotee. This is covered. He is not commanding now, you do this. Yes, he's commanding, do this, but in a different way. Because people understood, oh, who is this person commanding? Even some so-called rascal scholars have said, it is too much to demand. They have remarked like that. Yes, sophisticated persons, they are thinking like that. But our process is to submit. Unless we submit, there is no hope of advancing in Krishna consciousness. So yeah, so we actually can see this being submissive is a very important quality to have. You know, if we look all around, that those devotees who became submissive, no, we saw a devotee told me to chant, we followed up the devotee, then we advanced, or we are advancing. So like if we're not submissive, then we won't learn, we won't advance. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teaching. Trini Pi Sunichena Taroda Apu Saishmura Amanina Mana Dena Kirtana Sadahari. If you want to chant Hare Krishna mantra, then you have to take this principle. Trini Pi Sunichena. You have to become humbler than the grass. Grass is like lying on the street. Everyone is trampling down, never protest. So yeah, I know this is a famous verse that most of you don't know that verse. So one has to be humble. Without humility, then there can be no advancement. Because with humility comes mercy as well. Now when we're humble, we can receive mercy. We try. So this verse is an important verse. So we know that verse where we should give respect to others. So giving respect, in the society of devotees, we give respect to devotees. But I was thinking, sometimes as a preacher, when we're out in the field, we're preaching to so many different types of people. So we know potentially they are devotees. And sometimes we may be like some leading devotee, well versed in scripture and all that, and then sometimes we may want to pull out every verse that we're preaching. But if we just be humble, like sometimes just try to understand the person, just show some kindness and things like that. You may find that will assist the person. The person may want to surrender, and then later on they come to the temple, they will learn the verses and appreciate what's been said. So I thought being humble, preaching, we have to be humble, or try to be humble. So I think somebody asked Radhanath Swami the question, how did you become humble? And then he said you have to practice. So I was just thinking, we have to practice. If we're not humble, then we have to practice. But any quality is good quality, we have to practice. Continually, in the mid-morning, Prabhupada spoke again, this time at a grand initiation ceremony, 5 sacrifices. He awarded sannyas to 7 men, Brahmana to 15 devotees, and Harina initiation 25. So here we can see Srila Prabhupada was giving initiation to different levels, sannyas, brahmana, and first initiation. And he made an important point there. So he says, brahmana initiation as the means of elevating one to the highest position in society. It is not dependent on birth, but on qualification. It culminates in sannyas. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also wanted to introduce the system. Kipa Shudra Kipa Vipranyasi Kenanaya. Yehi Krishna Tattva Metta Se Guruhaya. He never accepted this, that by birth, no, either he is a brahmana or he is a shudra, by caste or by birth. Either he is a grihasta or a sannyasi. It doesn't matter. He can become guru. How? Yehi Krishna Tattva Metta. One who knows the principles of Krishna consciousness, one who understands Krishna, he can become guru. So guru is the post given to the sannyas, to the brahmanas. Without becoming a brahmana, nobody can become a sannyasi. And the sannyasi is supposed to be the guru of all the ashrams and all the varnas. So the preaching work, we require so many sannyasis. People are suffering all over the world for want of Krishna consciousness. My Guru Maharaj used to say that there is no scarcity. This is false propaganda. The only scarcity is that there is no Krishna consciousness. That is the difficulty. Actually, that is the fact. So then he also says, anyone who knows the science of Krishna, he can spread this Krishna consciousness more. And there's a great necessity. So he emphasizes the necessity. And the preaching work is meant for the sannyasis. So we have got some sannyasis who are doing very nicely. So today we shall make a number of sannyasis, more to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. And those who are going to take sannyas, they should remember how much responsibility they have got. Live like a very strict sannyasi. So we can also understand in our society, I'm not sure, Sarvadhamma Raghunath Prabhu, that we see that although Shri Prabhupada said the sannyasis have to preach, but now we see in present day society that the grihastas and any person that is chanting would preach. I don't know, Prabhupada, if you want to add on that point, because we see that sometimes in the workplace that you can preach to whoever you meet. So we should not only this is my personal opinion, we should not just only leave the preaching to the sannyasis, but although they're the best at preaching. So then also here he was, when Shri Prabhupada was president of the planet, he gave sannyasa to very young candidates. And then some were successful, some fell along the way. But that was a risk that he had to take. So he had to take risk in preaching. So there's risk when you preach. So Shri Prabhupada took those risks. So let's read on. So he was speaking about the sannyas candidates, importance of the ashrams. And he also mentioned the point that how Chaitanya took sannyas at the age of 24. So he said, and he also mentions that sannyasi, taking sannyasi not for the old. When you're old, then you take sannyasi. He wanted, so Shri Prabhupada emphasized the point of taking sannyas at a young age. So yeah, I guess, but I'm not too sure now whether that's kind of recommended because of the times. Attendance at our temple for the Gaura Purnima day was phenomenal. Estimates of the number of pilgrims entering the front gate range from 9,000 to 25,000 per hour. So that's like 9,000 to 25,000 per hour. Imagine that. Depending on the time, the flow continued for well over 7 hours. Most of the visitors saw the pictures exhibits as well as the temple. The road from the front gate to the temple was so packed it became nearly impossible to walk. The local police reported that people were coming from all over Bengal simply to see our ISKCON temple. Many devotees saw copies of the Gita and mass distribution of Havan Prasadam went on through the day. So Shri Prabhupada was very pleased with the town. So also before ISKCON temple was established in Mayapur, only a few hundred people would venture to this side of the river from Navadvipa, Gaurapur in a day. None would come after dark. Now within a mere 3 years, the Sri Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir has become the chief attraction, not just in the local district but in the whole of Bengal. This has drawn the attention of hundreds of thousands to the sacred site and activities of Lord Chaitanya. So you can see what large crowds attended. How Srila Prabhupada established ISKCON. You know? In the early afternoon, Tamal Krishna Maharaj brought the Radha Damodar party for a special darshan with the great Srila Prabhupada. So we know the Radha Damodar party, the achievements of book distribution. And so they had over 70 eager young men, most of them in the early 20s, packed the room and crowded the doorways. They gave Prabhupada a large donation of travelers' checks, and he encouraged them to continue their work of book distribution and fundraising. He complimented their efforts and showed them the plans for the future Mayapur development, encouraging them to collect more and more funds for Mayapur's construction. He told them, so you are pillars of this construction work. We are doing all your construction work on your contribution. So go on preaching and distributing books. So yeah, this is like very important. Preaching and distributing books. So today is book distribution day. So nice to be encouraged to go. Srila Prabhupada was in the best of humor and deeply appreciative of the work his disciples had doing to establish Krishna consciousness in the world. Typically, he wanted to know whether they were all comfortably situated. Tamal Krishna informed him they were occupying an entire wing of the building on the floor above. So yeah, so in my point, so this building was created, and Srila Prabhupada was saying that he didn't expect it to be full, but finally, see, every wing was full. And Srila Prabhupada was so pleased, and he was like, when he saw the devotees, he was dancing affectionately at the bright, beautiful faces. Prabhupada declared, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's soldiers to fight with Maya. They cheered back, Jaya Prabhupada. So just another important point here. Prabhupada went on to explain that cooperation is the essence of the movement. Quoting a line from O He Vaishnava Thakur, he told, the purpose of this verse is that even Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is God himself, Krishna himself. He felt alone, unable to do this task. So this is the position. You are cooperating, therefore I am getting the credit. Otherwise, alone, what could I do? Ekhi Amara Nahi Bhaya, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself wanted our cooperation. He is God Krishna. Therefore, cooperation is a very important thing. Nobody should think that I have got so great ability, I can do. No, it's simply by cooperation we can do very big things. United we stand, divided we shall fall. So be strong in pushing on Krishna consciousness. And Krishna will help. He is the strongest. So it goes on to say, still we must be combined together. Sankirtan means many men combined together, chanting. That is Sankirtan. Otherwise, Kirtan, Ohe Vir Militva Kritayati Sankirtana. Aho means many, and many combined together. That is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, combined together. All nations, all persons, they should combine together. There is hope in our society, combination. There are Hindus, there are Muslims, there are Christians, there are black, white, combined. That looks very beautiful. Not just like a combination of many flowers. Bringing the darshan to a close, Prabhupada glorified them with the final few words of praise. Hare Krishna, all glories to the Sankirtan. So Srila Prabhupada was getting news, as he always received news of preaching in other places, like in Africa. Somehow in Africa there were a lot of challenges, like with Brahmananda Swami couldn't get entrance into South Africa. There was a lot of problems. In Africa it's kind of a challenge at times. Then there was given feedback of the buses that Hamsaduta Swami was able to purchase 2 Mercedes buses came from Germany via Vrindavan. Then also there was feedback about the Bull Cart party that was sent to Hyderabad and also arrived successfully, completing a journey of 1,500 kilometers. So go on reading. The beautiful moon rose at 6:20, brilliant and full in the sky. It bathed the countryside in its cooling, luminescent rays, symbolizing the transcendental appearance of the Lord and the fulfillment of his mission. Prabhupada broke his fast, taking prasadam at 7:45. The grounds and temple were mobbed with pilgrims. It was virtually impossible to go down into the temple, and the narrow road in the front gate was jammed with tens and thousands of Vaishnavas. At one point, Prabhupada sent me out to see how many visitors had come, and he was very, very happy to hear of the large crowds. Typically, he wanted assurance that the prasadam was being distributed to all. So it's transmissions of help the same. Okay, is there any questions? Any comments?
So you were talking about, practicing humility. How would you suggest for everyone what can we do to practice humility? Yes, practice humility. What would you suggest we do to practice humility?
Okay, it depends on the candidates. Like, each person is a unique individual. So, like, if you're probably doing some type of service. So, humility means to serve others. You put yourself, in the spiritual world, there are many devotees before you. So, if you put others before you, then you'll be serving, you can serve more. So, you'll be able to get a chance to serve more in front of you. So, that is one type of humility. Like when you serve others. But obviously, it's sincere, not just to get some credit, okay, others see me doing something. Coming from the heart. So like we look at now Guru Parampara system. We have Guru Parampara. You have your Guru, Srila Prabhupada, goes on like that. But also, if you look at the Vaishnavas around us, the Master, Rukmani Master, she was giving a class, she was saying how Dhruva Maharaj, Kubera was wanting to give blessings to Dhruva Maharaj. And so those blessings also, when you get the blessings of the devotees, sometimes you may not be humble. So sometimes the blessing of the devotees is so important. Now, it must be like something, Prabhu, please give me a blessing. Something sincerely, if you ask for something, Guru can give you that. So if you're not humble, you can inquire from some senior devotee, you can pray like that. Pray to Krishna, consider him. So we may not have that because we're in the material world. So, but I also look at the percentage of your humanity. Like when you first try, you may not have been humble, But if you look at yourself, somebody else looks at you, they'll see a change in you. So we're working at it. We cannot say we're going to be 100%. Or even in the quality of envy too. There's different degrees of envy as well. But if you look at when you first try it and how you're working your way through it. But as I use the example of a Radhanath Swami, somebody asked him the question, and then he said, practice. So practice serving. And then anyone wants to say that?
I was thinking about last week and this week about this story about China. Krishna said
actually, it's like, please Guru. Guru knows, like even tests will come. Krishna won't give you a test that you can't complete or can't be successful. So any test that is coming, but we have to be alive to the situation is. You know, like to inherit the wealth of a parent, you have to be alive to inherit it. So as a devotee as well. So the instruction you may get an instruction now, but you may not, maybe not like if you're like coming from a grihastha background, you may have so many commitments and stuff like that. But if you keep the instruction in the core of your heart, Krishna will help them. So now each candidate, so there's no like I think I was listening to one Nasi says, in Krishna consciousness, there's no failure. So even if your child tries to do something, and it may seem like a failure, but there's no failure in Krishna's eyes. So I don't know if that point is like. So we can see like that, and I was thinking, today about Mayapur. So I don't know if I should just share it. So when different to speak, like this is not something that comes easy to me. Like I preach, but to speak in front of senior devotees, this is a challenge for me. like God brothers, senior God brothers. But nonetheless, I thought like how I could. Then I don't. Whenever I always turn to my Guru Maharaj watching the scene. It's like very nice. It speaks on Prabhupada. So would you all want me to read this? Can I read it? So it's about Mayapur Dham. We spoke about Mayapur Dham. So it's a very nice point here. And about the Sankirtan expansion of Mayapur, it's called. So I'm going to read this. It's a short, and then we can end there. In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, so this is reading from Watching the Sea. Srila Prabhupada explains the reasons for Sri Krishna Chaitanya's appearance. Now Krishna in his pastime was unable to experience the glory of Srimati Radharani's love for him. The wonderful qualities in Krishna that she relishes through her love and the indescribable happiness she feels when she realizes the sweetness of his love. Thus, Lord Krishna, assuming the guise of a devotee, adopted the mode and complexion of Srimati Radharani and descended in Navadvip Dham to fulfill the innermost desire, so to experience Srimati Radharani's ecstatic love for him. Thus, Navadvip Dham is a manifestation of Srimati Radharani's love for Krishna. The Puranas also describe that when in the state of Mahabhav, Srimati Radharani reached the extreme in ecstatic feelings of separation from Krishna, Lord Krishna. Krishna entered into her heart and stole her feelings of Mahabhav. That Mahabhav became manifest in Navadvip Dham. Thus, to better understand Sri Mayapur Dham and the mode of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as well as Srila Prabhupada, and our own devotional service, we should understand Radharani's mode of separation. Once, when Krishna left the company of the gopis, Radharani began to search for him in one forest after another, trying in intense separation. She approached the Kadamba tree. Where is Krishna? She approached Govardhan hill. Where is Krishna? She wandered everywhere throughout Vrindavan, crying, where is Krishna? He is more dear to me than my own life. How can I live without his service? In divine madness, she fainted. After some time, when Krishna appeared, he addressed Srimati Radharani. I am extremely pleased with you. You may ask from me whatever you wish. Then Srimati Radharani requested three things from Krishna. So we can just contemplate here. So this is the first wish. Please promise me that you will always remain in Braj, unseen by those without devotion. And the next one is, please never disappoint the devotees who reside here, maintaining their lives by their love for you alone, hoping to attain your lotus feet. And then this is like, I thought like applying to us, because we want mercy, we always want mercy. And this is Srimati Radharani requesting Lord Krishna. This is the third request. And please always shower your mercy on your devotees and give them shelter at your lotus feet. So, Srimati Radharani is so merciful. She's actually requesting Lord Krishna. And please always shower your mercy on your devotees and give them shelter at your lotus feet. We see that even though Srimati Radharani had been experiencing extreme separation from Krishna, When Krishna asked her what she wanted, she did not think of herself. She thought of the suffering of others. This is the mode of separation. Srimati Radharani's desire to please Krishna are so pure and so intense that she wants to engage every living entity for Krishna's pleasure, to give them Krishna's service and association. Krishna has unlimited desires to enjoy. Radha has unlimited desires to fulfill Krishna's desires. And Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada have the same desire to engage unlimited numbers of living entities in Krishna's service. Like Srimati Radharani, the preacher wants to arrange for others to get Krishna's association to serve him. Srila Prabhupada especially wanted unlimited numbers of books to be distributed, so that unlimited numbers of persons would be engaged in devotional service. Every book distributed means another brick for the Mayapur city temple, and as the city manifests, more and more devotees will be attracted to the Dham to develop the same mode of Sankirtan as they become inspired to distribute more and more books, and more people will become devotees, and thus the Vaishnava's desires will be fulfilled. So I'd like to end here, and I wish you all well with distribution and preaching, and I also am seeking your blessings. Please give me those blessings, and I could also be able to continue the service. Thank you so much. Shall Prabhupada ki jai.